January being such an active month with blizzards, flooding, severe weather, and even a polar vortex. I'll be taking a look at what we could expect as we head into February, so let's go ahead and get right on into it. Howdy y'all and welcome. We're going to take a look at the extended Euro today. We're going to do a top-down approach on the day's forecast to see what we could expect as we head into the month of February. And to take a look at whether or not we could expect the same kind of weather conditions that we dealt with in January, because January was a very wild month for weather because we dealt with that polar vortex and a blizzard. And take a look at this. We're going to take a look at our upper air temperatures at the 850 millibar level. It's basically the level that is pretty much felt here at the surface. We're going to take a look at our North Atlantic oscillation. And before y'all get confused on what that is, show y'all an illustration here. There's two phases. There's a negative phase and a positive phase. Negative phase is what we dealt with in January because we dealt with some warm temperatures up here in the poles, which weakened down that polar vortex and brought cold air down here into the lower 48. You can see the positive phase is what we dealt with in January. We had some cold air up here by Greenland, which kept that cold air locked up there, which means that we were dealing with warmer temperatures down here in the lower 48. And you can see another illustration of the weakening of the polar vortex. We can see that we enter that negative phase, it starts to weaken down that polar vortex, and it starts to come down south. We deal with it here in the lower 48. But if we deal with the positive phase, keeps that cold air locked up there, and it's sunshine and rainbows down here in the lower 48. Now we're going to take a look at two layers, the stratospheric layer and this layer right here, which is the lower layer. As we can see, we are currently in a positive phase, which is going to quickly turn into a negative phase as we head into the middle and end of February, which means we're back into this cold pattern again. You can see as I rewind this, we're going to be warm to start off February, but then we're going to end in a cold pattern. It's going to remain that way as we head into March, which means we could possibly be coming in on a late spring. Getting that here in a little bit as well. Now, before we get into the models of the stratospheric layer, we're going to take a look at the breakdown of the polar vortex. There's two layers. There's the tropospheric layer, and then there's the stratospheric layer. You have to have the stratospheric layer to weaken down in order for us here at the lower 48 to fill that polar vortex, and that's what happened in January. Now, in order for that to weaken down, we're going to take a look at the GFS extended 50 millibar anomaly in the stratosphere. This takes a look at our stratosphere temperatures. So we can see we have warmer temperatures here. Now, sort of interrupting that polar vortex, and it's going all over the place up here as we head into February. But we're still going to remain warm down here through the beginning parts of February, but it's looking like that polar vortex is going to start to weaken down a little bit. We're going to be getting in on that cold air. I know I don't show blues right here, but this is the upper layer of the atmosphere, so it's going to be a little bit warmer, weakening down that stratospheric polar vortex. Now, I know this is all confusing to everybody, but basically, we could be coming in on a little bit of a weak polar vortex in February. I'm going to show y'all a map that makes more sense to y'all, which is the temperature anomaly map. This determines our above and below average temperatures. You can see we're above average as we head into February, but once we head into the middle of February, right around Valentine's Day, we're going to be heading into a below average temperature pattern. We're going to remain that way as we head into March. Now, the Climate Protection Center is saying that much of the northern half of the country from California into Maine is going to be above average, while the rest of the country is going to be near normal. Now, I'm thinking they're getting their data from the beginning of February because really anything after a week or two is very uncertain. So that's why they're sticking with above average temperatures from California into Maine, because the beginning parts of February is going to be warmer than average. And y'all may wonder, are we still in this El Nino pattern? Well, yes, we actually are. We're in a very strong El Nino still, as you can see from February, March, and April. But as we head into springtime and the summertime, we're going to start to transition over into a stronger La Nina pattern. And y'all may wonder, what the heck does this even mean? Well, in summary, basically this means that we're going to be dealing with drier conditions down here in the southern half of the country and warmer conditions as well, with wetter conditions up here in the upper Midwest and Northwest, while Canada is going to be colder than normal. But you're going to stay tuned to my spring outlook. I will have one up in March, so make sure you're subscribed down below so you don't miss that. Because I do weekly updates like this here on YouTube and on Rumble, and I do daily updates on X and Facebook, so go check those out as well. I'll have links in the description down below. Now, I hope the stratospheric part of the video made sense to y'all. I know it's probably confusing, but in summary, basically it means that we're going to be colder than average here at the end of the month. But enough of the temperatures. What's the precipitation going to look like as we head into February? And to determine this, we're going to take a look at the precipitation anomalies. The dark greens and blues are above average, and the browns are sort of the below average. Looks like we're going to be heading into an above average precipitation out west, while the eastern part's going to be dealing with sort of below average. But then we're going to start to trend towards an above average trend before drying out up here in the upper Midwest by the end of the month and sort of getting soggy in the southeast and southwest part of the country. Now, the Climate Prediction Center is pretty confident in this one, as they're saying what I'm saying, which is the southwest part of the country and southeast is going to be above average. Alaska, you're going to be above average as well, except for up here in the upper Midwest where you're heading to sort of a below average precipitation pattern. So it's looking like we're going to start to dry out here in the upper Midwest, although we're still in a drought for some reason. Show y'all the drought map here, very strange. But I'll show y'all another graphic here of the risk for heavy precipitation as we head into February. We could be coming in on what we call an atmospheric river. Y'all may saw in the thumbnail, atmospheric river with the arrow pointing at a big tidal wave. Tidal wave's not going to happen. We're going to be dealing with a lot of heavy precipitation out here, a lot of heavy snow in the upper elevations of California, and some high winds. Take a look at the GFS and take a look at the simulated radar. We're heading into the 30th. We can see that a lot of heavy precipitation is going to be coming y'all's way. And it's going to remain that way up into the 2nd, into the 3rd. Looks like it could be coming in on by the 5th, right around 2 to 4 inches. Locally, higher amounts are going to be possible up here in Oregon and up by Washington. Prepare for some flooding right around that time. And as far as the snow totals go, up higher elevations, looks like about 8 to 12 inches of snowfall is going to be possible. Go to the ski resorts up there if you have any near you. Go out there and enjoy those. Now, this is pretty far out, but we're pretty confident in an atmospheric river event occurring from the 30th into the 2nd. As we can see, the wording by the National Weather Service, definitely high impacts of an atmospheric river event going on out west. Now, I'm sure y'all are wanting to know what's the weather going to look like leading up into February. Well, I'm just going to show y'all the GFS because the climate forecast system model, I don't much like it. It's not very reliable. GFS ain't as reliable, but it's more trustworthy than the CFS. So you can see as we head into February, we're going to be wet out east. A lot of snowfall up here in the central part of the country. And we could be coming in on some snowfall right around the 29th. And then it's going to start to dry out a little bit before the atmospheric river event takes hold of the western part of the country. And that's going to lead the way to some more heavy precipitation amongst much of the country. Heavy snowfall up by Wyoming by February 5th. And more heavy precipitation over here in the eastern part of the country. It's why the models were saying above average precipitation is going to be expected through the beginning parts of February. So it's definitely looking like a soggy pattern is going to be in store as we head into February though. As far as temperatures go, we already know the above average temperatures are going to be expected. So we can see we head into February. Really nice temperatures are going to be felt amongst the eastern part of the country. Still cold out west, but above average for this time of year though. We can see we're going to start to get cold a little bit, but then as we start February, it's looking like 70-degree temperatures are going to stretch as far north as South Dakota. And it looks like this back and forth pattern is going to persist into February. That's why the models were saying that we're going to be heading into an above average temperature trend. Definitely some nice temperatures are going to be in store as we head into February though. Now, for those who voted on the poll yesterday, still 50-50, only 2 of y'all voted, but if you voted both, then you're correct. You're the winner. Congratulations. We'll give the one lucky winner a round of applause because it's going to be a warmer than normal start to February and wet, and then it's going to end cold and dry. We also got Groundhog Day upon us as well. That's on the 2nd. So definitely got to see what the groundhog has to say on what we could expect in February, which he's wrong majority of the time, which I hope we get in on a early spring, but we'll just have to find out whether or not we're going to be getting on that early spring or not. So I hope y'all enjoyed today's video. Appreciate it if y'all hit that like and share button so more folks are informed about the weather. And if you want to be my Valentine, make sure you just hit that subscribe button down below with bell notifications turned on so you never miss an upload, because here at Wins Weather, we make weather forecasting fun and informative. Also, leave me some feedback in the comment section down below. I read all y'all's comments and appreciate everybody leaving feedback. Feedback helps provide you, the viewer, better and more informative content in the future. And I will have a video out next week breaking down the Groundhog Day forecast, so make sure you stay tuned for that. So again, like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, never stop forecasting.